His Excellency Dr. Muhammad Irfan Ali and his wife, Her Excellency Arya Ali, have been tested negative for COVID-19. However, with the exception of Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Honorable Hugh Todd, and just recently Minister of Tourism, Industry and Commerce, Honorable Unej Waldron Alicock, the rest of the PPPC cabinet ministers have tested negative.
The government officials were tested on Wednesday for COVID-19 after it was brought to President Irfan Ali's attention that Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, the Honorable Hugh Todd, had came into contact with someone who had tested positive for the virus. With the exception of Minister of Tourism, Industry and Commerce, the Honorable Unej Waldron Alicock, all of the rest of the PPPC cabinet members have tested negative. Minister Waldron Alicock has since gone into self-isolation in keeping with public health guidelines. Suriname's President, His Excellency Chandrika Prasad Santokhi, U.S. Ambassador to Guyana, Her Excellency Sarah Ann Lynch, and UK High Commissioner to Guyana, His Excellency Greg Quinn, all of whom were in recent contact with Minister Todd, have since tested negative for COVID-19. Additionally, the Deputy UK High Commissioner Ray Davison and members of the US Envoy have tested negative for the disease. On Thursday, during a virtual discussion, Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony revealed that Guyana testing capacity will be robustly ramped up to ensure an effective response to COVID-19. With increased level of testing, the minister said Guyana will see more positive cases of the novel coronavirus.
Over the last couple of week or so, we have started to do more testing. We have streamlined the laboratory to ensure that we can do more testing, and we have placed more kits, testing kits, in the various regions. So what we actually have been doing over the last couple of days is testing more people. And as you do more tests, you're going to find more people that are positives.
Equipping the regions to do increased testing allows for a more accurate representation of COVID-19 cases, the minister noted. The health minister further explained that many of the new cases are asymptomatic and mildly symptomatic, which presents an issue to health authorities who have been vigorously contact tracing persons who may have been exposed to the virus.
There are quite a few people who have been walking around quite comfortably, not coughing, don't have any fever, none of the typical or classical symptoms of COVID-19. But when you do the PCR testing, we are finding that they're negative. And this is something that we've seen around the world, and we are seeing that here in Guyana as well. So I think as we ramp up testing, we should expect that we'll be getting far more cases. And for those regions that was showing negative all along, so for example, in Region 6, we only have one person who was confirmed with PCR testing. And that has been the only result for Region 6. That does not mean that Region 6 perhaps do not have other cases. So when we start doing more testing in Region 6.
To this end, the minister announced that the ministry is weighing options to allow persons to self-quarantine or to self-isolate. He noted these strategies will be put in place to allow citizens to be cared for in the comfort of their homes.
Self-quarantine means that you have to be home, locked away in a room and not in contact with the other family members, so that you're separate and you don't, if you have the infection, you don't spread to anybody else in the home, and that you're staying home and not going out on the road and mingling with the general public. Unfortunately, we've had cases where people were placed in self-quarantine and self-isolation, and they have breached those rules. And when that happened, people then start seeing that we should be moving people, not giving them this option of self-quarantine and self-isolation, but we should be moving all such cases into the institutions, right? But we still want to have people in this self quarantine and self isolation if they are going to comply with the rules.
The new PPPC administration is currently reviewing the criteria for reopening of the country while including measures which will guarantee the safety of citizens. In the new order to be issued, mandatory mask wearing will be highlighted while public compliance will be heavily emphasized. To date, the number of confirmed COVID-19 cases stands at 631. Seneca Thorne, InfoHub.